Sometimes it's good to just dance.
Welcome to the Good Stuff Family Podcast. I'm Dawn Kendrick, and I am so glad you're here. These are stories from the perspective of a news reporter on a next-level assignment. Everyone has a story. Stories of hope, resilience, and how we believe God weaves people, relationships, opportunities, all of it for good. For many of us, faith leads our steps, others not so much. But that is what makes this growing Good Stuff family great. We know the journey is better together. Welcome to the family.
Got a suggestion. Sometimes it's good to just dance. Come along.
Good morning, Good Stuff family. Welcome to the best part of waking up is waking up. That's what we say. That's what we believe. The opportunity right before us to make this a great day and to see the good in others and to be the good for them. Rich Smith, along as always, my partner in crime here, and Pastor Charles. Good morning.
Good morning, John. Good morning, Good Stuff family. You know, I'm Good Stuff on the road today.
I love it.
With our friend Lynette. I'm going to pop you in the frame real quick. And we're on our way to do some training for autism in Trumbull County and couldn't miss the show. So Lynette's laughing at me. She's like, you can do everything on the road. I was telling her, I said, this is the closest I can ever get to being like God in any way. Like, I'm not omnipotent, but I can definitely work from anywhere.
You're the tech guy, unlike me. Yeah. So thank you for your dedication to be here. And that whole story and what you and Lynette are doing, that we could talk hours as well for families living with the awe part of autism, AWE, because of the keys that Lynette has unlocked in so many kids. And we just pray as you're going forward. I know you're like on the road all the time and trying to advance it and spread it. So that is good stuff. It's classic good stuff. In fact, I don't even know you if not for having known Lynette. And that's the God we use now. Watch him work. It's true. It's a real thing. Now, you know what else is a real thing this time of year? Easter lamb cakes.
Oh, wow.
Have you seen them?
I have. I'm averse to the coconut shaving stuff. It makes me cringe, but I think they look adorable if they're done right.
Okay. Well, there's the key. If they're done right. This is hilarious. What is this?
Oh my.
My aunt goes, wait, that's going to scare the kids are going to think it's Halloween. What? I'm sorry, I can't stop laughing. I can't. And one of these guys already, there's a chocolate version. I love chocolate. Okay. Now that guy at the top maybe would have gotten the award for most realistic, except someone already ate the eyeball and the ear off.
It's like the relocation version of the lamb cake.
I can't. Oh my God, on the bottom, look at his eyes. But you know what? An A for effort, an A for trying. And so I want it every year. I make an Easter bunny cake that my Aunt Babs, it was her idea. She started it, but this is our version. Huh?
Well, that's
not so bad. Right. That's my adopted Mama Debbie. This is another year. And then this was last year's. I think it's evolving. You get those Google eyes from Michael's. Yeah. How about that? All right. So there you go. For all you guys who are attempting to bake this time of year, look, that's what do we say? We say take the next best step. And so as we take a couple more seconds here to warm up before we bring on our awesome guest, speaking of taking the next best step, hey, good morning, Jan. Let me show you something that our friend Gina. Hey, speak of the devil. There she is, Gina, right there. Good morning. Hey, good morning, sunshine. She sent this morning. When we talk about, y'all, let's just take the next best step. We have breath in our lungs. Let's keep taking the next best step. This is from Gina this morning. Look at this. They have snacks. These are my people. Look at them. They're eating snacks. I thought that was hilarious. So just keep taking the next best step, whether it's a high step or it's snacks with your friend. Yeah?
Yeah.
Hey, Merry Heart does good like a medicine.
There you go. Pastor Charles, again, look at him. He's got all the truth. He's full of the truth. And so speaking of snacks with your friends and making new friends, last weekend I met a super fantastically plugged in good stuff woman. Her name is Laura Wulf, and it's because I went to see my friend Matt Sanders, who is such a good stuff dude as well. And so I thought, let's just bring them in and talk about what they're doing. Good morning, Laura. Good morning, Matt.
Good morning.
Good morning, sunshines. Matt, you're outside because you said it's so beautiful. You're going to soak it up.
Yep.
People were sleeping inside, and you're like, I'm going to
Yes.
take. You took the show on the road too.
Yep. I'm sitting outside my home. So yeah.
I love it. Well, thank you for joining us. It's because of the work that you do for St. Baldrick. For 10 years, you've been fundraising. And St. Baldrick, Laura, for 22 years, has been doing this fundraiser here in St. Louis. So, Laura, why don't you just give us an overall look at what the importance of St. Baldrick, and then we're going to talk about how important Matt is to that.
Yeah, so St. Baldrick started as a challenge between 4 friends in New York a whole lot of years ago, like 25 years ago. And they were all successful businessmen in a place in their lives where they were ready to give back. And they chose childhood cancer research as kind of what they wanted to devote some time and resources to. So they said, well, you know, those kids that go through cancer treatment, they lose their hair. And I bet a lot of people would love to see us lose our hair. So why don't we do that kind of like, you know, people pledging when they run a marathon? You know, we'll try to raise money and then we'll get our heads all shaved off and we'll donate the money somehow. So that's what they did. They all got together. Their favorite holiday was St. Patrick's Day. And so they picked an Irish bar that they loved and they all raised money in advance, the 4 of them, and they had their heads shaved in the bar and they donated money to a nonprofit that did cancer research. That nonprofit turned around into the current St. Baldrick's Foundation, and the concept of the head shaving as a means to raise money kind of caught on like wildfire across the country and now across the world. And so they're all volunteer led and organized head shaving events that go on around the country. And all of the money goes to St. Baldrick's Foundation, which then distributes the money raised in the form of grants to support cancer research. And yeah, the importance behind it is St. Baldrick's Foundation is the second largest source of funding for childhood cancer research next to the U.S. government. Only 4% of funding for cancer research goes to pediatrics. The other 96% goes to adults. So when you only get 4% from the government, that's not a lot to support childhood cancer research. So that's exactly where St. Baldrick's Foundation comes in and is that next layer of funding to support research.
And no one probably understands it better than Matt, who for 10 years, first of all, let's just say that in St. Louis alone in 22 years, Laura, y'all have brought in, is this $7.3 million?
7.3 million over the 22 years. Yeah.
That's crazy good stuff. And Matt Sanders in 10 years, this guy right here has been responsible for 51,172 and counting. Is that right, Matt?
Yes, that is correct.
One dude for 10 years going to have your head shaved. Tell me why. I loved what you said when I interviewed you this weekend. Why is it, of all the things you could be doing, why is this so important to you?
Our kids are our future. Our families are our future. They should not. Our family should not be having to deal with this. So that's one reason I do what I do. I fight for our kids. I fight for their families. I fight for their, make sure they have a healthy future.
Last year, you were the top fundraiser. That's why I love this picture right here. I love it. Now, if we can take a closer look, here's Matt and Laura. Our new friends, Matt and Laura. Rich, you'll help me pull, keep the background and stuff. So there's that. Now here's this face that I love of Peggy, who I also met. I love Peggy. She wasn't able to be with us this morning, but if a picture is worth 1,000 words, I'm going to assume that what Peggy is looking at here is that $11,510 that Matt raised last year alone. 11,000 in 1 year. Isn't that great,
Yeah.
you guys?
It is
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, and I honestly had to elbow my way past all your fans, Matt, to get even up close enough. Here's you getting your head shaved. Let me see. I got to go. Here we go. There it is. That's the most recent one with your 10-year baton.
Yep.
I know you've met some of these kids. I've seen these pictures where you're sort of their heroes, aren't you?
Yes. Our kids are our future, and a lot of them have developed long-term relationships with them and their families.
Yeah. And as is the case often when you scratch the surface of a good stuff story like Matt. Again, Matt, you want to say how we met really quick? Let's go ahead and trace this through for people.
We met at the North County Reunion Old Timer Soccer game in Florissant back in September last year.
Yes. So we go way back. That was something that was on our hearts to do. And it turns out when you follow what we try to tell people, just follow your heart, take the next best step. Then there's a Matt Sanders that you meet. And then lo and behold, there ends up being Laura Wulf most recently, who also has North County roots. Rich, can you bring us up? There you go. North County roots as well.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Florissant proud. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Florissant proud. Me too. Right? Florissant. No roots is what we say. In St. Louis, people know. They know what that is. So Laura, I want to, like I said, we scratched the surface of all the St. Baldrick good stuff by knowing Matt. And lo and behold, here you are, this humble lead volunteer, you call yourself, but you go back 22 years, nursing background with Cardinal Glennon. Will you give me a window into what you're doing now with the Glennon Factor podcast and why you have this personal connection in your son Jude?
Yeah, it's way personal. I got involved with St. Baldrick's when I was an oncology nurse at Glennon. And so, we give great care and, it's excellent. And that's what the families need. That's why they come to us, is for their care and for their child to be treated. But ultimately, they want the disease to go away, right? So we can only do so much under our walls. And, there's research going on at the hospital, but collaborative research is really the way to go. So that's kind of why Peggy and myself and, some of the other nurses started and spearheaded this event in St. Louis, just to give families something tangible and hands-on to do. And at the time, I had 2 toddlers as my children, and my 3rd child was not even born yet. And then, the years go by, we're doing this fundraiser, we're doing it kind of as an extension of our work. And then my 3rd child was born, who is Jude. And just before he turned 2, he was diagnosed with cancer. So what had been my work passion and my life career became very personal. And I needed Cardinal Glennon, and there he is. And I needed the services. I needed the protocols. I needed the research for my own child. So, my role at the hospital changed a little bit. My passion changed a little bit. My drive for continuing to participate in St. Baldrick certainly evolved with all of that. And so Jude is a 3-time survivor. So he did treatment, then relapsed, did treatment again, relapsed again, did treatment again. And so we're celebrating 6 years cancer-free at this point. And he is a junior in high school, getting ready to go to college, has very high aspirations of what he wants to do. He's a 4.0 student at SLU High. And, it's just a miracle and a testament to what can happen when the community pulls together and supports research because we needed that and we took advantage of it. There had been changes in the particular protocol used to treat them, and that's all done through research. So I honestly can't say it wasn't for doers like Matt. Yeah, and the podcast that I do and co-host for the hospital is just, I love this vessel as a way to get the word out and spread, just like Dawn, just like you're doing with good stuff, to kind of spread what's going on within our walls at the hospital and the relationships and the good stuff. Yeah, that's going on inside the walls of our hospital. So yeah.
And we're flipping through some of these pictures. If you're listening in podcast mode, the Good Stuff family with Don Kendrick on YouTube, and you can see. So, I mean, seriously, this kid is a warrior, and he has a warrior mama. So here again, look at Jude. I say that's his. All right, let's go. That's his go face, don't you think, Laura? Jude's go.
Oh
face.
yes. Just
Let's
try
go.
me.
Yeah. And here, this is you always by his side, like in the Christmas jammies. This mama. And
yeah, that was Christmas at the hospital. Yeah, and that was well, we happen to have a few capes lying around the house from previous events, so we took advantage of that.
There's you doing the same thing. So Matt, when you hear this story, what let me get your take on that, seeing that Matt, okay, so Jude went from warrior 3-time to this. Look at he's so battled and came out strong. And look at this. Look at this. Let me remove the banner here and you'll be able to see. Look at, I was struck by this. What do you think about that, Matt?
He's got the heart of a warrior. He continues to fight back.
He sure does. And Mama, what about that cross he's wearing?
Oh yeah, Jude has. Oh God, Dawn, don't get me started. Yeah, he has a very, very strong faith, and Jude's going to do good things. He's going to give back to other people through his work and just being the kind of human that he is, because he knows. And come here.
Is Jude there?
He's here.
Okay. Pull him up. Matt, let me get rid of this one. Good morning, sunshine. Oh, it's so nice to meet you officially.
He's got to go to school.
Of course. You have places to go, things to do, people to see. But Jude, this story of yours is so inspirational. And we say that the best good stuff, we believe, is so often the God stuff. Is it that for you?
Yeah, it. I mean, I hear like all the time about other people that like suffer from cancer and like just like what they go through and like how unfortunate like so many stories are, and I always feel blessed just that I'm here. And
yeah. And how, for people who are listening who say, how can someone who had to warrior through 3 times say that he's blessed? How do you answer that?
People go through ups and downs all the time, and I just think of it as my story, and just it's what I've gone through, and I don't think of it as a negative, because the amount of experience and lessons I've learned from my cancer treatments and just persevering through them has taught me a lot and has made me stronger, has made me like want to go to the gym, like become healthier, like, and like has just taught me so many lessons.
Yeah, and I want to thank you for sharing that. And Rich, let's see, I'm going to add us all back in. So Pastor Charles, when you hear what do you think? That reminds me of Paul, who said, I count it all for good.
Well, and the prophet Joel, let the weak say, I am a warrior.
Oh, okay. That'll preach.
Yeah, just our weakness sets the stage for God's strength to show if we're open to God's strength, if we're open to his presence and not thinking, I have to have a talk with Paul when he talked about being the chief among sinners. I was a chief among scuzzbuckets, but yet God called me. Well, he bushwhacked me into ministry. But I tell you what, Jude, you have inspired me. I got tears welling up in my eyes. Brother, just keep going in the strength of the Lord. You, my young brother, are an inspiration to so many. Don't ever be shy about sharing your testimony. And Mom, you see you busting with pride, but oh my goodness.
Yeah, I'm slightly proud. Yeah, a little bit.
I would say the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Yeah.
Look at this. How great is this picture?
Mm-hmm.
That says warrior all over it.
Yeah.
And Laura,
Yeah,
I know
Laura.
how important faith is to you too. I listened to the Glennon Factor yesterday and talk about Pastor Charles, talking about tears welling up. I listened to it on my walk. Laura, there is the whole other next layer of what's happening at Cardinal Glennon. It's real, authentic people, good stuff, these stories on that podcast that you run. Would you just give us a window, even just the last one I listened to, what's happening in the way of child life at Cardinal Glennon, that even in the face of all of this warrioring that families have to do, they wouldn't have chosen it, they couldn't have chosen it. Will you give us a window on all the good stuff that's happening there?
Yeah, I mean, bye. Oh, Jude says bye.
Oh, bye, Jude. God
Bye,
bless
Jude.
you. Thanks for popping in. We got a BOGO today, Mama Anna Jude.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we felt super passionate to highlight that team. And, it's like we shared on the podcast. They are people, they're like life coaches for kids in the hospital. No kid's supposed to be in the hospital. That's not normal. That's not normal life. No one knows how to do that. In fact, parents don't know how to do that either. It's a very hopeless feeling for parents when their children are in the hospital because, as parents, we're supposed to know what to do. We're supposed to provide that, sense of control for our children. And the parents don't know the environment and they don't know what they're dealing with. But those folks under that child life umbrella, whether they're child life specialists or creative arts therapists or school teachers, their services are not reimbursable by insurance and they can't bill for their services. So it requires to have a lot of them or to expand their services or have different things to provide the coaching and support that they do for the families. It takes donors and it takes people. And it kind of brings it back to like what we're talking about today. It takes doers. It takes community support to support the hospital. So the hospital has funds to support them because it's not under operational dollars. It's same with Matt. If we didn't have Matts in the world to support St. Baldrick's events, to support the research, then I don't have a survivor who's getting ready to go to college, So it really is that next step. Like you said, Don, take that next step. And if we don't have people in the world that are taking that next step, so, why did I highlight that team? Well, because that's a great team that I want to talk about. So people understand we don't have people like that and support systems like that within the hospital if it isn't for people stepping up and donating funds to our local hospitals, so you have to talk about it. It's stuff that people don't know. If you are blessed and haven't had to spend any time in the hospital, you would never know who those people are or why we need them, Right. So, forums like this and podcasts and things like that get information out there so people know it's a thing, but
it was so obvious to me that it was a calling for all of you. And so, Matt, when you hear her say, without the Matt Sanders, she doesn't have a warrior. She didn't have the opportunity for him to warrior. Matt, how does that make you feel?
It would make me feel sad if I wouldn't be able to help our families.
Is that not the soundbite of the whole podcast right there?
Yeah, because our families are our future. Our kids are our future.
So,
Especially.
But that's a testament to Matt. You know, Matt, not unlike many other people, you know, Matt hasn't had to be touched by childhood cancer. You know what I mean? But he's just doing it for people he doesn't even know, you know, because it would make him sad. You know, there's so many people who just spin through life and it's not me and I don't need to worry about it, you know.
Right.
And
we are our brother's keepers.
Amen.
This is a perfect example. We don't have to know another person. All we need to know is there are people in need, and then to use the gifts that God has given us, the resources maybe that God has given us to make a difference in someone else's life. Because we all, as the Lord said, we're all connected. There's one body of Christ, and we're all connected. Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
And how awesome even to see how God is weaving the fact that we're all sitting here today. That has to be God at work, you all. It has to be God at work. Pastor Charles has his own story. You can find his testimony a bit back. We feel like we go way back, but it was not a good one. And that's what we call a tease in the broadcast news. Let's just say he was shot in the mouth back in the day. And your testimony, can you do it in a sentence or two about how you've come through that, Pastor Charles? Let's just share that.
Well, it was the grace of God. I was working in broadcasting in Charlotte, North Carolina, and shot in the mouth with the Thompson submachine gun, shattered my jaw. Ministry was not even on my radar at the time, but that was 1971 and 1976 or 78. I'm getting so old I can't remember, but that was my original ordination. And now I keep so busy working for my Jesus, I ain't got time to die. So, and folks ask me, when are you going to retire? And I'm like, you know, I'm only 76. Okay. Moses didn't get started until he was 75. So
woo! That'll preach. And then there's whippersnapper Matt, 41. Look at all the time you have ahead of you.
Yes. Yep. I know, but I won't ever forget. One thing I'm going to tell some of you guys know this, because last January I was crossing an intersection. I was hit by a car and I'd had surgery and relearned to walk again. I didn't even know if I would make the event at Helen's last year, but by hard work and determination, I found a way to get there.
Yes, you did. I remember you getting up on the stage. We were a bit nervous.
Yeah. Yep, I made it. Yep, and now a year later, I'm got full mobility once again. So, yep.
Praise God. And what happened last year? You didn't even think you would make it. Not only
I didn't think I would make it to the event. So.
Right, and not only did you make it. Let's just show this picture again that I just love. Like, let's just sit in this for a moment. Let's just show you were the top fundraiser, even if you had to limp in at $11,000 and some change. Come on.
Yeah, God is good.
One of the things I love about that photo, Dawn and Matt, is that we got our locking hands of Matt and Jim. So Jim Varagona is another one of our top money raisers every year, and he's been a loyal supporter also. And these people come back year after year, and they're so loyal, and they form, you know, like kind of like this today, you know, they form these friendships and this bond, and you know, it's competitive, I'm not gonna lie, but you know, it's
yes,
respectful, the most respectful competition. And that's, you know, I think Jim was in second, you know, close to Matt in fundraising, and they had a moment up on the stage there, which was fun. But you know, there's something about Matt, and there's something about people like Jim that is magnetically good, in that you can't raise money in the volumes that they raise without people really respecting you, because when you have your hand out all the time and you're asking the same circle of people over and over again, please continue to support me in this cause. Please continue, to maintain the level of support that he has, that speaks to his character, because support dies off after a while, just because it does. And it hasn't for Matt. And so that speaks to the kind of person that he is, because I know that people just don't keep giving because of a cause that they're not necessarily close to. They're giving to Matt because of Matt, which in turn supports the
Matt,
kids.
what's your secret? What's your secret for this top-notch fundraising?
I pretty much got my small circle. I developed my relationship with the local businesses. We host we host Dine and Donates, all that good stuff. Especially my most current partnership is with the Hacienda Mexican Restaurant and their food truck.
Good people. NOCO again. North County strong. Yeah.
Yep. And they do come to Florissant every other month to help me raise money for St. Baldrick's. And so far, and they've been successful since we started doing it at the beginning of middle of 2021, and been doing it ever since.
You got the good people. You got the donuts. You got the Mexican.
Yeah.
You got the hookup, Matt.
Yeah.
I feel like we need a snack like those ladies at the beginning of the
Yeah.
podcast. I could go for a snack right now. Yeah, the donut cupboard. We talked about that. Like that was a Kendrick family staple. Matt, you like donut cupboard? We had those.
I've had donut cupboard. They got good donuts too.
Yeah. We had them.
I don't know. They could compete with Old Town.
Bad enough. I live 2-3 blocks from Old Town, so. But I'm a regular in Old Town, and they've supported me throughout the years too. So.
And I can only imagine when you walk into anywhere, Matt, I see you larger than life. I see your good stuff, heart and soul from a mile away. And I want to put this up as we begin to wrap this up. Pastor Rick Warren had this quote. I don't know. I found it a couple weeks ago, but I thought I'm going to put this in our podcast with Matt Sanders. And because here's the thing, Pastor Charles can attest to this. The Bible is full of people who God worked through who were not perfect, the weak even, right? So when Pastor Rick Warren says God uses normal people, here's 5 of us right here, in normal situations, making normal decisions every day to change the destiny of the world.
All right.
What do you think about that?
Yeah.
Send that to me.
I'll do
Send that to me. I love that.
I'll do it.
Send that to me too.
One correction: there's 4 normal people, and I'm the one abnormal.
And humility is important too.
Oh,
but it says change the destiny.
Special.
He is for sure. Hey, but when it says change the destiny of the world, in this case, it's saving lives and it's improving lives of people in end of life, even because let's face it, none of us get forever. But these kids, what I heard on that podcast, the Glennon Factory with you, Laura, their legacy, even in the short amount of years, that's all we could all learn from them, what they're leaving, because people like you are showing up to make that time meaningful. Yeah, you want to just comment on that as we begin to wrap up?
What you mean?
The importance for when you're up against cancer diagnosis with kids like Jude, you know it firsthand. This is how you guys would go to the hospital. Your whole lives were consumed with the business of staying alive. But when people at Cardinal Glennon show up, even though these kids sometimes aren't going to make it, what is it about the legacy that they're leaving that makes every single day that you go to work worth it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, 100%. I mean, talking with some of, our child life staff and anybody else, honestly, it's a gift to work in healthcare. And I say this all the time. It is, you have a job that you show up for every day. And it can be hard, but at the same place, you are in people's most intimate vulnerabilities, and you have the power to shift their wind in a positive direction every day. Not everybody has the gift to be able to say that they have that place to be able to transform someone's day, someone's life, you know, their healthcare experience. That's a gift to be able to say that you have that. And, for some of those therapists that were on that podcast, one of the questions I asked them is, what's the legacy you would like to leave in your work? And, they honestly said, if I can make a difference for one person, just one,
Yes.
and I, in some way, shaped their experience in a positive direction, then I feel like I'm leaving my legacy every day, and I've done what I'm called to do and what I feel passionate about doing. And
That's it.
I agree,
There's a hymn too. If I can help somebody as I go life's way, then my living shall not be in vain.
I'm reminded, we often hear these words through Mass, and sometimes we hear them but don't really listen to them. But we've all said them today at one point in time in the broadcast, and that's through Him, with Him, and in Him.
Yes.
Our work in those three capacities, and we've fulfilled our destiny.
Isn't that funny? Like, I've been to church and said those words. I can't tell you how many times, but hearing it in this context, that's so good. That's
the
so
word
good.
is living and active.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. And we hope that if you're listening, it's speaking to you. And I can't help but think of all the birds we hear because Matt's outside. Like, praise God for the birds. Praise God that the days are getting longer. This is a good time to get out and show up, huh, Matt? Yeah?
Yes, it is. It's a great time to show up. It's not only a great time to put your determination and strength to the test, because we got to be there for our kids. If we're not there for our kids, then who's going to be?
Good question.
There it is. And let's just wrap this up right now with, this is the verse that we've been looking at all week. How perfect that we've been blessed with Laura and Matt this morning. We've been looking at 1 Peter 4:10. God, Pastor Charles, you read it for us, would you?
Sure. God has given each of you a gift from His great variety of spiritual gifts. Use them well to serve one another.
I say the 3-word directive in that: use them well to serve one another. Use them well. That's it. What is it, you guys? If you're listening, can we be a Matt Sanders? I had a hashtag in here in the banners, be a Matt Sanders. Just be a Matt Sanders. Here it is. Okay, let's throw that right up there.
There it is.
Oh, woo!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be a Matt Sanders. And let's end this now on one of the greatest quotes of all time that we love from John Wesley. If you're listening, here it is. Do all the good you can, by all the means you can, in all the ways you can, in all the places you can, in all the times you can, to all the people you can, how long as ever you can. Do all the good. There's a 4-word directive. So I want to thank you guys so much. Rich, you get the award for most dedicated this morning, literally joining us on the road. Thank you. 1,000 thank yous. Matt, thank you for seeing the good and being the good. Pastor Charles, for the perspective you lend. And Laura, for just really being someone who I admire so much. And I've met you once because you're leading by example. Y'all are. And I love you. And I'm so grateful that God saw fit to weave our paths. And I can't wait to see God at work in all the things that y'all are doing going forward. So, Rich, always say, here it is. This is it. See the good in others. Be the good for them. On your mark, get set.
Let's go.
Sometimes it's good to just dance.
You've been listening to Don Kendrick's The Good Stuff Family Podcast. If you found inspiration here, would you click subscribe, follow, share? as we grow our Good Stuff family tree? Check out thegoodstufffamily.com for links to all our social media platforms and for how you or your business could sponsor a story. The Good Stuff Family, reaching and touching hearts around the world by weaving families together one story at a time. On your mark, get set, let's go.
Well, I got a suggestion. Sometimes it's good, so come along,